as you can probably tell, I really like roller coasters. And with the Thanksgiving season right around the corner, I want to give you guys 7 roller coasters that I am truly thankful for to celebrate the Thanksgiving season. So without further ado, let's get started. Starting off this list of coasters I'm thankful for is Mystic Timbers. Now, long before I was a coaster enthusiast, I still always really enjoyed Mystic Timbers. I wasn't a huge fan of taller or bigger roller coasters such as Diamondback or Orion at my home park Kings Island, but I really wasn't that scared of Mystic Timbers. It wasn't very tall, but it was always just so much fun. It was a coaster I could ride that wouldn't make me super nervous, which was a big plus back then. It was fast, it was smooth, the layout through the woods was just awesome, and while looking back on it now, the shed kind of being a little bit of a letdown, it was honestly so much better than just simply waiting on a brake run. And I still have a ton of memories of riding this coaster with friends and family. And now that I am a coaster enthusiast, it has made me realize just how special this coaster is. Not many parks have a wooden coaster on Mystic Timbers level, and I'm super thankful that I've had the opportunity to ride this coaster growing up. The next coaster on this list that I'm thankful for is Fury 325. We visited Carowinds over spring break in 2023, and we got to spend 2 days here at this beautiful park. And let me tell you, driving into the park and seeing Fury 325 is just, I can't put it into words. You're driving and you're parking your car and everything, and you just see this absolutely massive roller coaster, and you cannot help but feel excited for your day. And at this time, I was still just getting into riding roller coasters. And I must admit, I was very nervous for this. Sure, I had ridden Orion, but Fury 325 seemed like an entirely different beast. And quite honestly, I did not know what I was getting myself into. We unfortunately did not get to ride it the first day because we all had the stomach bug right as the time we were visiting Carowinds. So none of us felt good for our 2 days at Carowinds. But luckily, when we got back to the park the second day, we were all feeling significantly better. And after doing a couple more coasters such as Intimidator, now Thunderstriker or whatever, and Copperhead Strike and Afterburn and all of them, we finally got to ride Fury 325. And let me tell you, it did not disappoint. The speed and how well the elements worked together and the amazing drop, it was unlike any coaster I had rode before. In fact, my review of this coaster actually ended up being my first video I ever created. It may not have been my first video I ever posted, but it was the first one that I actually sat down and made myself. And I must give credit because this coaster is partly why this channel exists today. If you do want to help me reach my goal of hitting 1,000 subscribers, then a sub to the channel would be fantastic. We're getting super close and I really need your help. Anyway, let's get to number 5 on this list. And if you're wondering why we're doing 7 coasters instead of 5 or even 10, well, it's because I feel like it. Alright, number 5 is Velocicoaster. I got to ride this coaster last December, and it was my first introduction into the world of Intamin launch coasters. And, well, this coaster is just, it's truly incredible. Not just the ride experience itself, that is beyond amazing, but then you throw in the theming and how well they integrated the ride into the theming too. I mean, it pretty much doesn't get better than this. Except maybe for Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, but we'll get to that in a second. I think I rode Velocicoaster either 5 or 6 times, and I sat in the back at least 3 or 4 of those, and I sat up front the rest. And let me tell you, just each ride, it just felt like it kept getting better. The first ride I was just blown away and pretty much in shock. But with each ride, the forces and just the general experience of everything just kept getting better. And I really can't wait till I can get on this coaster again, and that's why it's number 5 on this list. Now, Velocicoaster may have been my introduction to Intamin launch coasters, and pretty much Intamin in general. But these 2 coasters, which I'm both putting at 4, we'll say they're tied for 4, are my first introductions to the one and only RMC. Technically, my first RMC was Lightning Rod at Dollywood, when it still had the launch too, which was incredibly lucky. And if you haven't heard the story on that, we basically attempted to ride it, I think 4 times, and only got on it once. And you could just say that was bad luck for one day. But then, we were at Dollywood this past weekend, and when we went to ride Lightning Rod again, first try we wait like 20 minutes, we get assigned the front row, and guess what happens? Yeah, it broke down again, and they kicked us all out of the station. So we left and rode a different ride, and literally 30 minutes later, the ride reopened. Yeah, I think I'm actually just cursed when it comes to riding Lightning Rod. But anyway, getting to ride this coaster was just a breathtaking experience for the first time. Again, I had no idea what to expect going into this. And that first waves turn, I legit felt like I was going to fall out. But that was incredible, but I only really got one ride. But when we went to King's Dominion later that year, I got to ride Twisted Timbers. And let me tell you, Twisted Timbers is one of my favorite coasters, easily. I really like this coaster. And it's easily my second favorite RMC, just behind Steel Vengeance. That's how good it is. This coaster was just so re-rideable and delivered in every single seat, just in crazy good ejector airtime combined with that first drop. I mean, we rode it probably 6, 7, 8 times and it was just amazing. So that's why I'm thankful for these two amazing RMCs. But now let's go way back to one of my first trips to Disney, where I got to ride Expedition Everest. And this was pretty much my first major roller coaster. Now, was I scared out of my mind? Absolutely. But looking back on it, despite being really nervous for it and pretty scared and not really enjoying it at the moment, it's still one of my first major roller coasters, and I still think it kind of helped me to be where I am today. Again, I didn't like it in the moment, but I feel like just getting to ride it and getting to experience a major roller coaster, when I finally got brave enough to try another one, I think it helped me like it a lot more. So for that, I'm really thankful for Expedition Everest. But now, let's get to the top 2 coasters I'm thankful for. And at number 2 is Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. I know I say it in every video with this coaster, but that name is still ridiculous. But this coaster is not. And it is actually probably, geez, I'm so bad at ranking my roller coasters. But I'd probably say this is a top 5, at least a top 10 roller coaster for me. Yes, it is not the most thrilling or exciting ride whatsoever, but the theming and how well the theming ties into the ride experience and how it tells such a cohesive story, no other coaster matches it in that sense. And it makes a lot of sense why this coaster cost $300 million. For context, that's like 10 Fury 325s. And just everything about this coaster worked so well. The theming in the queue, then to the station, then to the onboard audio, the launches, the actual ride itself, the beautiful scenery around it, and then the animatronics and the story and all of that, it just worked perfectly. And I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan, like I've read the books and everything, but like, even not being the biggest Harry Potter fan, this coaster was still, honestly, it was just mind-blowing getting to ride it. It's definitely an experience I will never forget. And another coaster I really can't wait till I get my next opportunity to ride it. But now let's get into my number 1 coaster I am thankful for, and that is Banshee at Kings Island. So let me give you the whole story. So we went to Kings Island, I believe 2021 or late 2020 when they still had masks and everything. And this was when Orion was brand new and was still doing their like little ticket system to get on the ride. And me and my cousin were lucky enough to get 2 tickets to ride this coaster. Actually, correction, we got 3 tickets to ride this coaster. But I had never ridden a coaster this big in my life, so we decided to start a little smaller and start with Diamondback. I was pretty nervous for Diamondback, but I got on it and it was actually a ton of fun, and I was so ready for Orion. So me and my cousin got on, and we rode Orion probably the 3rd or 4th row, I believe, and it felt like our faces were literally getting ripped off. Like, I can't describe exactly how it felt. Like, it just felt like my whole body was getting, like, torn apart. Like, I can't remember a single thing about the actual layout. I just remember being scared out of my mind, and then literally feeling like my face was getting torn off. I don't know what it was that made the coaster feel so intense back then, but I kind of wish it was that way now. But anyway, that was really cool. So me and my cousin decided to ride again using that 3rd ticket. And we were worried it wouldn't work, but they let us in. And we rode it again, and it was still just as ridiculously intense as I remember. Again, I don't know why it felt so intense. It was probably just because I was younger, and that's what made it feel just so much more forceful, I guess. And I wasn't really used to riding roller coasters at the time, so that's probably what happened. But that was a little too much for younger me to handle. And I ended up almost throwing up. And it kind of shook me for the rest of the day, and I didn't really end up riding much more. Fast forward a year later, and we get back to Kings Island. We now have season passes. And after that experience making me sick and all that, I was pretty scared to ride roller coasters. And I didn't ride another big roller coaster until we get to Banshee. But actually, first I rode Delirium. It's a bigger thrill ride, but I never really done anything like it before. And let me tell you, I really like Delirium. And I was feeling so brave at the time, I decided to go and ride Banshee. Because why not? And remember, I had not ridden a big roller coaster since a ride over a year ago. And because I was just too scared of it, because I didn't want to get sick again. But I rode Banshee, and it opened my eyes to what roller coasters could be. I was no longer afraid of getting sick or feeling bad or scared of even heights anymore. All it took was just one ride on Banshee to basically turn me into a coaster enthusiast. And without that one ride on Banshee, just because I was feeling brave, to be honest, this channel would not exist. I'm so incredibly thankful for Banshee, and it'll always hold a special place in my heart. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like down below, subscribe for more awesome coaster content coming your way, and thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of your day, enjoy your Thanksgiving, and I'll see you all in the next one.